In this video, I'll be showing you guys how to make resin dominoes from start to finish with everything that you would need to execute a beautiful domino set. And this is going to be a series of 2. So in this video, I'll show you guys how to do the pour, everything that you need to do the pour, and in the second video, I'll show how to complete the domino set once it's cured. So let's begin. So let's start with the resin that I use. I use Art and Glow resin. Art and Glow resin. It gives you a 40-minute work time, and it's UV resistant, which is what made me get this brand, and also it has a very low odor, so you don't really smell it. But I still recommend that you use a mask, which I have right here. Right before I mix it, I'll put it on so I'm not necessarily contaminated. Okay, so as I go, I'll show you guys all the material that I use. But in the description below, I will have a list of everything that I'll be using, so you can go ahead and get it yourself. Okay, so first, let's start with gloves. Okay, so a lovely tip that I'll give is that you should put the resin part. It's 2-part. There's the resin, which normally is part A, if I'm not mistaken, and then there's the hardener. Different brands, have part A, part B. Some will just be labeled resin and hardener. So for this brand, the resin comes a little bit thick. It comes thicker than the hardener. So what I do to loosen up the resin is put it in a container of warm water. I let it sit for probably 4 minutes, and once you take it out, you would see that it's way looser than it was before. If you get this brand, you will understand what I'm talking about. And also it helps reduce the bubbles that comes up when you mix the resin. Okay, so next you'll need a measuring cup. I use this measuring cup. It's a 32-ounce measuring cup, but it's only marked up to 26 ounces. It's very suitable for most of the things that you'll be using, but if you want to make a big batch of resin at the same time, of course I would recommend getting a bigger cup. Also, for those who are not very new to resin, some brands, they will have 1-to-1, which is half of the amount that you need in total. So just to give reference, we need just about 14 ounces of resin to make this domino set. So you will have, since it's 14, you will have 7 ounces of resin and 7 ounces of hardener. You will mix them together, which we will do in this video, and then that's what you'll be using. But there's also some brands that has 1-to-2, but that's other brands. We're using Art and Glow today, so we will be doing 1-to-1. So let's start with mixing the resin. Before you do, I just want to make sure to cover everything. So there's not much questions that you will have, but if there is any questions that you have, please be sure to ask in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer you. Before you do anything, you should have a leveled surface. So I would recommend getting a leveler. If you never used a level before, what you're trying to do is get your surface to be in the middle. Well, for this bubble to be in the middle, which signifies that your surface is level when you place it down. Okay, let's get to the fun part. As I said, I'll be using a mask because these are chemicals that we will be mixing and you just want to be on the safe side. Cool. Also, there's a cheat sheet on this one. I really love this brand. It tells you everything. You have all the directions. You have to mix this brand from between 3 to 5 minutes. When you pour it, we'll get to it. Okay. So right now I am pouring the resin up to the 7-ounce mark. And by the way, I already placed my resin inside the warm water just for the sake of time. It's a bit looser than it was before. If you keep your resin in a room that's, I guess, moderate, or probably 80 degrees if I'm not mistaken, then this should be already loose, so you don't have to worry about this extra step. I just do it to prevent all the air bubbles that's produced when I mix the resin. The resin and the hardener together at least. Okay, so I have 7 ounces of resin in the cup. I'll be pouring the hardener up to the 14-ounce mark. Okay, now that that's done, I'm gonna set a 4-minute timer. It says you have to mix between 3 to 5 minutes. I just use the middle mark. So Siri, hey Siri, set 4-minute timer.
Sorry, I'm not
Hey
sure
Siri.
what you want me to change.
Hey Siri, set 4-minute timer.
Okay.
This is just helpful to me. It's easy. I use one of these mixers. I get it off of Amazon, and I use my screw gun. You don't need a screw gun. You can use these pallet sticks, but I do it because it's very easy. It's easier than just mixing for 4 minutes. Okay, so the 4 minutes are up. What I do is have an extra cup so I can place this in it so it can dry. Once this is cured, you can just take it back out of the cup, break off the drips that's on it, and you can reuse it right away. Okay. Make sure to leave it faced up so it's just a simple break off and reuse for the next day. A lovely tip that I would leave is to get multiple, just in case you have more projects that you want to do throughout the day. Alright, so now that we have the resin done, we'll get to the pour. I'll be showing you what I'll be making is some white pearl dominoes. It will have a clear effect. You know, it's gonna be clear and white pearl, mostly white pearl, but just to give some texture, or you know, just for a cool look, it will have a little bit of clear in it. You'll see. I use these small cups as well to pour the resin. So pour a little bit of resin out if I'm using multiple colors. I have a whole batch of them. You can get this at your regular grocery store or Amazon, of course. Amazon has everything. So since I'm going to be using just a little bit of clear, I have the clear separated in this cup. this should be enough. This is about 7 ounces if I'm not mistaken. I measured it before. And of course every cup is going to be different, so you would want to definitely have measuring cups. So have this aside for later on. I just want to put a little bit more. Actually, okay. All right, so I'll be doing white pearl. So I have this pigment, which is pearl, and this is from Art Pro Pigments. And I also have pure white, which is from Diamond Pigments. I'll have the links below for you to get it. So cool. What I'm gonna do is mix the pigments together with resin. And I have these stir sticks that I get from Michaels and also Amazon as well. I got a batch of 200 because I use them very often. So I'm gonna put the powder, the pigment, away from the mold because I don't want the wind blowing the pigment into my nicely cleaned mold, domino mold. So you don't have to put all too much. This is how much I placed in it. And that was the pearl. You can play around with it. You can put a little bit first, mix it, see how much how it looks, and then you can add more pigment as to get the look that you're going for. So it's not, for me personally, it's not much. There's no measurement to it. It's like your grandparents saying a dash of this, a dash of that in the pot for making different ingredients and stuff, or recipes, sorry. Never know the exact measurement, but you know when it's just right. So for me, I'm going for more of a pearl look, so I added more pearl than pure white. I'm not sure if you would be able to even see the difference between the pure white and the pearl, but why not just mix both of them? Sometimes just mixing two different pigments, it gives a really cool effect that you would not have guessed how it would look if you didn't do it. And those could become those mixtures, those combinations could be like a special edition for you. It could be different colors and stuff. You can play around with it. So it's not much mixing yet, but it's already mixed up. It's not much. You don't really have to mix it for too long, but I like to make sure to get all the pigment dissolved in the resin, so there's no clumps, which is very rare honestly when it comes to this pigment because it dissolves very quickly. I just want to be a little bit more sure, extra sure, you know. I'm better safe than sorry. And this is beautiful. There we go. All right. So let's get to it. Why I said that you should use, let's get to it. Why I said that you should use a level is because when you're pouring, sometimes you would see if your table isn't leveled, you would see that the resin runs to one side of the mold, which you do not want. So of course, just make sure that your surface is always leveled. Okay, so for this pour, what I'll be doing is pouring some clear first, so the faces of the dominoes will have just a little clear in it, a little clear texture, you would say, and not too much. I'm not doing too much. Just for the just a very thin layer of clear is gonna be there, clear resin. Very thin layer. What I do is kind of move a bit fast. We have 40 minutes to do this before it starts setting up and getting hard, which is fairly a good amount of time, honestly. But sometimes if you don't have everything set up before you start mixing the resin, then you can run into trouble down the line. So what I would recommend is always making sure that you have everything prepared before you start mixing the resin. You know, where everything is, sometimes I run into problems where I can't find the pigment that I'm looking for. It just happens. You misplace things. Definitely is not always the case, but when it does happen, you want to be safe, on the safe side. So 40 minutes is definitely great to work with. Okay, so I have all the surfaces. Good. All the surfaces has the clear resin. Make sure that the whole face of the domino has it. The majority of the domino is gonna be pearl, but we're gonna play around with the clear. Okay, that looks good to me. Guys, be sure if there's anything that I probably missed out, you can feel free to ask in the comments below. I'll definitely get back to you. There's a lot of questions that I had when I first started that I had to go to several videos for to find. But I want to make sure to have all the questions that I had answered in this video, so you can have all the answers in one place. Okay, so this is done. Cool. Now for the rest of it. The pearl, white pearl. Let's go. All right. Not sure if you can see, the clear pushes aside just a bit, and the clear resin pushes to the side, and while the pearl goes down, so you can see the contrast. There we go. I wouldn't recommend pouring too fast because you can make it overflow. What you're trying to do is get the resin to just come to the surface of the mold. You don't want it to overflow too much, because later on, when it's cured, you will have some problems. You'll run into some problems when you start sanding the backs, which you'll see in, well, you wouldn't see it in this because I'm going to do my best to not have it overflow. But if you don't make it overflow, it's just going to be that much easier to complete the dominoes when it's done. You would see the back of the dominoes is just going to be that much easier to sand over. And see, I think I almost overflowed this one, so just be careful when you're pouring. Take your time. You have the time, so use it. All right, this is coming out really, really good. Again, you might want to rush, but patience is key. Patience is key. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, please give me a like. Give this video a like and subscribe if you love seeing creations. This is lovely wood art. I do multiple things. You can check out my art on my Instagram, which is linked below, and also some of the things that I make, you can see it on my website, which is also linked below. In future videos, I will be showing how to create your own wood art. Okay, so this is all done, and so now I'm kind of happy that I have an example of it overflowing out just a bit. It can be worse than this, but what I'm gonna do is take out the excess resin that sits on the top, because I do not want that when it's cured. I want to make sure that I have seamless back domino back pieces. So I'm just gonna take this and run it along the side of the mold, let it overflow again, and then remove the excess again. What I could also do is swipe across the back, just like that, and now it's leveled again. Now it's good. All right. Something else I would recommend getting is some some toothpicks. If something happens to fall in your dominoes while it's curing, this is the very easy way to remove it. Like, let's say hair falls in it, which happens. If hair was to fall in, you can just pick it out. And I believe that's all for this video. If there's anything that you feel as though I left out, again, feel free to ask. I'll answer all your questions. And if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, so you wouldn't miss out on the second video that I will be posting when this is cured, and how to sand the backs and fill in the dots and all the material that's needed for that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys back next time. This is lovely wood art. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. So there is one thing that I did forget before ending the video. You'll need a lighter, or you can use a torch. What you'll be doing is trying to pop the bubbles that rise in the back of the dominoes. So if you're using one of these, you just want to place them very close enough to the back, and always this mask isn't the best. You need a respirator, honestly, but I do not have one right now, so I'm using what I have. Put it close enough. You want to be careful going close to the mold, because if you burn the mold, the resin could stick on it. So when you're peeling out the dominoes, it will actually be stuck to the mold, and you will be peeling the mold off of it. I mean, you'll be peeling piece of the mold off. So you want to be careful when you're using the lighter. More so the torch. I use a torch honestly because it's faster. And if you're using torch, just how you use it. You just do a quick. It's not working right now. I need to get some more gas for it. Okay, there we go. In and out. But again, I don't recommend it, so I'll just show you how what I would recommend you to do. All right. And the let me call it, the bubbles come to the middle of the dominoes, so that's really good honestly, because you just have to focus in the middle and get rid of those. You run less risk of damaging your mold. Okay, and that's that. Again, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, please give me a thumbs up, and hope you